Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be giving my predictions for week 32 of the Premier League. And we just had an amazing week of football yet again this weekend. We had Son acting like he got shot, we saw Fulham get robbed, we saw Trent Alexander-Arnold in the dying embers of the game against Aston Villa prove Gareth Southgate why he should be picked in the Euros for the England team. We saw so much sensational football, and let's hope yet again we get another great week of football, man. From 3rd place to 8th place, it's only like 7 to 8 points separating, so the top 4 race is heating up as well. But before I go into this video, you know I'm going to say, remember to like, comment, and hit that big subscribe button right there, and make sure you give me your own predictions in the comment section on who you think will win this weekend in terms of the Premier League. So the first game we're going to be talking about is Leeds versus Liverpool, and let me just start with Liverpool. More specifically, let me start with Trent Alexander-Arnold. What needs Gareth Southgate to do right now is issue Trent Alexander-Arnold an apology through the phone and message him and be like, you know what, bro? I should have picked you for the last squad, for the England squad. He should have done that. He should do that right away because he was in the stands. He was there to see Trent Alexander-Arnold's great finesse in the dying embers of the game in the 90th minute to secure Liverpool that win so they can carry on pushing for the top 4 race. And not only that, he had Trezeguet locked up, as Akon would say. He had him on toes, defensively 1v1 sound. Trezeguet could not get past him, and Trent was absolutely marvellous, proving the doubt was wrong, that he can actually defend. But enough about Trent Alexander-Arnold, let me talk about Liverpool. And as an overall consensus, I think Liverpool fans will agree, I was not satisfied with that performance, especially in the first half. And it wasn't as if Aston Villa were actually defending amazingly. There were so much gaps, so much space between the defence and the midfield. They had no sort of structural discipline for the likes of Salah, Mane and Firmino to take advantage of. And we saw that through the lack of chances we had in the first half. It was completely abysmal. And the thing is with Liverpool, we can't slack and we must take our chances because we are versing a determined Leeds. We saw at the beginning of the season when they were able to come back from 3-1 at Anfield against us and make it 3-3. They have no conscience. They don't care what the scoreline is. Every single possession, they're going to try to be ruthless and score and get back into the game. It doesn't matter how much they're losing by. They were fearless against Man City the other week with just 10 men on the pitch. So we've seen this season that Leeds can be unstoppable at moments and we cannot take them lightly. And if we do not convert our chances against Leeds, we are going to be in big trouble because they're just not like Aston Villa who are lacking creativity. They don't have their star man Grealish, and even if we miss all these chances, we will be able to win. Leeds will take their chances and they're going to be gun-ho in terms of the pressing game. However, the fact that top 4 is still up for grabs, I still believe in Liverpool, especially for the fact that we are away from home, even though we got that monkey off our back, beating Aston Villa, ending that 7-game win streak. That doesn't matter. Every game comes and we need to win this game, and I think we will. I think we're going to be able to pass through the press with the likes of Fabinho. Thiago should be a good start in terms of this game, and I think we're going to take full advantage in terms of this game. So I'm going to be predicting a 2-1 victory for Liverpool. So the next game we're going to be talking about is Everton versus Spurs. And let me just start with Spurs, man. It feels like their guts are hanging out of their stomach, man. Literally, their performance against Man United, how should I describe it, man? It was a typical Spurs performance because if you remove that great movement in the first half which led to Son's goal, they were absolutely diabolical. They were absolutely pathetic. They weren't even good throughout the whole game. Man United, although they are the better side, Tottenham, you are better than that, man. You have world-class players at your disposal. You should be putting in a much better performance at home. We saw Spurs, typically in Mourinho fashion, as soon as they got the first goal, they went back into the defensive shape and sat back, which Man United were able to exploit due to the abysmal defenders Spurs have at their disposal with players like Aurier and Dyer, who could not match and keep up with Cavani's movement, which he was the man of the match, which led to Man United winning the game. Spurs should have no confidence going into this game against Everton, and we even saw it in Mourinho in his news conference, man. He wanted to dodge all those questions about football. He instead started talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, about how he doesn't feed his children. Like, come on, Mourinho, man. I know you're desperate to get away from this atmosphere. You do not want the attention on you, that you haven't been managing great this season, but still, man, at least have the integrity to answer these questions and face the fact that your team has been poor majorly because of the players, but you should hold some responsibility because let's be honest, you are the head of the snake because you are the manager. But Spurs are lucky, man. They're versing an Everton side who have not been great at home. We've seen teams like Fulham, we've seen teams like Burnley take advantage at Goodison Park, and Everton could not keep up with these relegation contenders. So Spurs should feel at least thankful that they'll be able to have a chance against this weak, mentality-minded Everton side who know that they're pushing for the top 4, but they can't get over the line in typical Everton fashion. Despite the dip in form of Calvert-Lewin, who was scoring literally in every single game at the beginning of the season, although he hasn't been living up to those standards, it's pretty much, we saw this coming, man, because Calvert-Lewin isn't that sort of striker who's going to get goal after goal every single game. That form ran out. But everything else, I think he's going to be able to occupy those 2 Spurs defenders, whoever they filled out. So we'll give the license of other players like Richarlison to take advantage of the weak defence that Tottenham have at their disposal. But honestly, these 2 teams are top 4 pretenders, and I don't see either of them will get the game by the scruff of its neck and win the game. So I'm going to be sitting on the fence in this game, and I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between these sides. So the next game I'm going to be talking about is Newcastle versus West Ham. And let me just start off with West Ham, man. It was a typical West Ham game. They were able to score 3 goals like they did in their last 2 games and concede at least 2 goals like they've done in their last 2 games as well. We saw this against Arsenal, we saw this against Wolves, and now we saw with the latest opponents, Leicester. And I know I spoke about Lingard briefly last week, but I need to give him his credit again, man. 7 goals in 9 games. I can't lie. I was one of the people who fell into the trap calling Lingardinho, saying that last season that he only was able to register 1 goal for Manchester United. I thought he fell off a cliff. I thought he wasn't that great. But those memes confuse me, because when Lingard is right, when Lingard has the confidence, when Lingard has the personnel which gives him the freedom and the license to manoeuvre in great spaces and create chances for the West Ham attackers, he is phenomenal. When he's in form, he's one of the best informed players in the league. However, West Ham cannot keep relying on Lingard and Bowen to keep saving them, man, because he's going to catch up to them. Only have one out-and-out striker in Antonio, and he's been hit and miss lately. So West Ham need to be prepared to start grinding out results if they have any aspirations to carry on finishing in the top 4 race this season. And West Ham are facing a Newcastle side who are able to get 4 points out of their last 2 games. And Steve Bruce, maybe he will be able to keep the Newcastle side up this season. So we'll have to see later on this season. But in terms of the game, I just don't feel like Newcastle have enough quality. Although St. Maximin had an amazing game last game, I just don't think Newcastle will be able to get another few points out of this game, since West Ham are literally on a surge to try finishing in the top 4. So in terms of this game, I think it's going to be a close affair, and I think West Ham will wake up and know that defensively they have to be sharper. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory for West Ham. So the next game I'm going to be talking about is Man United versus Burnley. And let me give Man United their credit. Let me give them their credit. Although they're versing a very poor Spurs side, they were able to absolutely decimate them in the second half, man. And my biggest takeaway of this game is that the fact that Man United didn't need Bruno Fernandes. And we even saw this against Brighton. He didn't have a great performance, but Man United were able to grind out a result against Brighton. And Man United were able to win convincingly against Tottenham without the impact of Bruno Fernandes. And this is great because Bruno Fernandes isn't going to have an amazing game every single game. We've seen players like Cavani step up with his movement and his goal. We saw players like Luke Shaw prove that why he's one of the most consistent left backs this season. We even seen Wan-Bissaka look a little bit, game by game, getting more comfortable going forward. Paul Pogba, even though at the beginning of the season he didn't seem comfortable at Man United, he is performing at an exceptional level. So if Man United can keep doing this as a team rather than an individual brilliant moment like Bruno Fernandes, this is going to do them a world of good in terms of this game and even in the future. However, we must talk about the first half like we usually do with Man United. They were slow, they were lethargic, they were not moving the ball with any real pace. And with Burnley organisation who like sitting back in 4 banks, this might be troubling, especially the fact that they are at Old Trafford and they do not have a great record there. So if Man United do start off slow, it's going to be a difficult game for them. However, Burnley are on a 2-game losing streak, and the fact that they're 13th, 14th, subconsciously, they must be thinking that they're safe and they're going to be ready for next season. So in terms of this season, they do not have that much to play for. So I think this is going to help Man United win this game due to the fact that they're still pushing for the 2nd place this season. So in terms of this game, I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory for Manchester United. So the next game I'm going to be talking about is Chelsea versus Brighton. And let me just start off with Chelsea, man. What a great performance against Crystal Palace, considering that the fact that they got battered by the Brazilian West Brom side. And although they have been on a 14-game undefeated streak, I think those first 20 minutes they did against Crystal Palace was the best football they've played under Tuchel yet. We saw Havertz, man. He has Dimitar Berbatov-esque touch, man. His touch is marvellous. We saw Havertz and Mount able to pull the strings, flowing in areas of space. 1 minute playing in the false nine spot, next minute playing on the right forward spot, next minute playing on the left forward spot. When they're given the freedom and the license to do what they want, we can see why creatively, why they're one of the best midfielders when they're on their game. And the way they were able to stretch the play, the great formation that they're playing gives them so much success with the wing backs making the other opposition tired in terms of literally playing from one side to another. When they switch the play of game, it's absolutely great to watch, but slow sometimes. That's why I fall asleep sometimes watching Chelsea. But it gives them great success. What can I say? I believe Chelsea are back on track, man. And the only thing I feel like which will stop them maybe from winning this game, it's not going to be because of Brighton. It's going to be because of themselves. Because due to the fact that they play Man City on the weekend in terms of the FA Cup, they might feel a little bit tired, a little bit jaded going into this game on Tuesday against Brighton. But at the end of the day, they have a big enough squad to rotate and still have a top 4 place to finish. Because let's not forget, West Ham are higher than them. So at the end of the day, I still think they're going to beat Brighton. So I'm going to go for a 3-0 victory for Chelsea.